Well, folks, the worst thing possible has come to pass, and the Red Roosters have come home to roost. What am I talking about? Well, of course, you've seen the video title, but before we get into that, I'd like to remind you that this video is brought to you by our friends over at Hellebarde Games. Hellebarde makes the kind of adventures they'd like to play, whether it's for Castles and Crusades, for 5th edition, or for the OSR. Old School is in play at the table with Hellebarde Games, and you can find them on DriveThruRPG or on their website, hellebardegames.com, which is linked in the description below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment. Let's get straight into it. I have said before that Hasbro was chopping Wizards down, trimming off everything they could to make a quick, cheap sale out of it. And who might they sell it to? Certainly not another pen and paper role-playing game company. Nobody's got the pockets for that here, at least in North America. It might be Microsoft, it could be Apple, or in a worst case scenario, yes, it could be Chinese company Tencent. Why is that the worst possible scenario, folks? Well, because Tencent is not based out of Taiwan. They are based out of mainland China. And that, of course, means that they're an organ of the Chinese Communist government. That's right. D&D is going to land in the hands of Winnie the Z. Now, I'm pretty unhappy about that. If you guys think that there have been restrictions on the D&D IP before, wait till it's in the hand of the biggest authoritarian government in the world. But before I get too panicky, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the article and see what it has to say. And of course, I'll link to this below, and I'll link to another article backing this up. But let's have a gander here. And this comes to us from, who is this? This is Pandaily, a financial paper out of the Pacific Rim. Hasbro seeks to sell IP D&D. I hate that, by the way. It's D ampersand D. And has had preliminary contact with Tencent. Speed Daily exclusively learned that the American toy company Hasbro is seeking to sell its well-known IP Dungeons & Dragons, referred to as D&D below, and Tencent is one of the potential buyers. At present, the negotiations are still in the early stages and both parties have not yet reached an agreement on the details of the transaction. According to informed sources, the financial crisis faced by Hasbro is the main reason for considering the sale of D&D, and Tencent's investment Larian Studios is acting as an intermediary in this transaction. Larian Studios' game Baldur's Gate 3 won the TGA Game of the Year award in 2023 and is considered one of the most successful adaptations of D&D. Goldbox Games, excuse me. As a result, it was seen as a potential target buyer by Hasbro. However, due to insufficient funds, Larian ultimately introduced this deal to shareholder Tencent. Hasbro was founded in 1923 and has had a history of over 100 years. In 1935, the company gradually became a world-class toy company with its Monopoly games. It owns well-known IPs such as Transformers, Dungeons & Dragons, Monopoly, and My Little Pony. However, this century-old enterprise is currently facing a huge crisis due to losses. Good job on the mismanagement, Hasbro. Its stock price has dropped from a high of $108 in 2019 to $51 closing data on January 26th. According to the financial report, as of the third quarter of 2023, Hasbro has been experiencing consecutive losses for 4 quarters due to its main business of toy sales. The accumulated loss from Q4 2022 to Q3 2023 exceeds $500 million USD, and in Q2 2023 there was even a negative free cash flow situation. According to Forbes reports, in response to the crisis, the company underwent significant layoffs last year, with a total reduction of over 1,900 employees, accounting for more than 20%. And of course, we've covered that here on the channel. Although the company as a whole is in a loss situation, its D&D related IP is a high quality asset and has achieved considerable success in video game adaptations. Last year, the release of Baldur's Gate 3 by Larian Studios was both critically acclaimed and commercially successful. It not only won 6 TGA awards, including Game of the Year, but also generated revenues of $657 million, surpassing the Harry Potter IP adaptation game Hogwarts Legacy, making it the most profitable PC exclusive game last year. The success of Baldur's Gate 3 is also reflected in the financial data. The financial report shows that in the third quarter of 2023, driven by Baldur's Gate 3 and another Monopoly IP game called Monopoly Go, Hasbro's electronic gaming and licensing related business achieved a contrary year-on-year growth of 40%, reaching $423 million. Outside of electronic games, D&D is also one of the most popular tabletop games in Europe and America. It's appeared on Big Bang Theory and Stranger Things. A large fan base is formed around its related culture, making it a top-tier IP. Folks, I really don't like being eyed like a piece of meat in a butcher window. A Tencent IEG insider revealed that Tencent, represented by its overseas business department IEG Global, is in negotiations with the aim of acquiring a series of rights, including the adaptation rights for electronic games such as D&D. According to the aforementioned IEG insiders, Tencent holds the game adaptation rights for many top-tier IPs, blah, 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 blah. However, due to the licensing model mostly not being a one-time buyout, Tencent not only needs to bear high copyright fees and long-term revenue sharing, but also frequently faces restrictions from its partners in terms of development and operation. The mobile adaptation of Nier by Tencent was unable to be launched even until the project was canceled. If this acquisition is successful, it will enable Tencent to gain dominant control over the IP of Dungeons & Dragons. Companies in Europe and America attach great importance to the value of intellectual property, while Chinese companies have limited opportunities to acquire top-tier IPs from overseas, so the opportunity to acquire Dungeons & Dragons due to financial consideration is a rare chance. Sorry for the edit jump there, folks. But anyway, you know, yes, this absolutely, unquestionably does affect all of D&D. Dungeons & Dragons as a hobby is completely screwed if this deal goes through. Folks, this even affects the old school. I love being able to tell people, hey, if you want a hard copy of the Player's Handbook, you can go to DriveThruRPG and you can get one print on demand. You don't have to pay hundreds of dollars on eBay to get your hands on a copy. All right. And I know you can raise the Jolly Roger and get PDFs anywhere. It's the ease of printing for a lot of folks, of being able to have a physical book in your hands. But this is really bad news for everyone. You think Tencent cares about tabletop games? You think they care to keep giving money to drive-thru? No, folks. And look, I get it. There are plenty of people out there who think that Mao is cute and that, you know, Winnie the Z is awesome, and you guys can just go on with whatever edition of D&D that Tencent decides to put out. There's not going to be they don't care about tabletop games. Okay? I promise you. I absolutely promise you. The best you can ever expect if you like Nouveau Dungeons and Dragons is evergreen, because these people are not going to be developing anything that resembles it. So what do you guys think? Is this just paranoid ramblings from a lunatic? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Regardless of how you feel about it, folks, there's ink on the paper. Might not have dried yet, but it's coming. Oh, Lord, it's coming. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But, yeah, alarm bells should be ringing. This is not good. You know, what can I say? Peace, and line up behind Liberty Prime. I'll talk to you guys later.